Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shaunneka and today I'll be guiding you through a morning yin yoga sequence. So we all know that having a morning routine is so beneficial because it sets the tone for your day, but I also really believe that incorporating a yin yoga practice or yin yoga postures to your morning routine will really help not only balance the body, but it also gives you the opportunity to set your intentions for the day, and it is also very meditative. So if you were also looking to include maybe a meditation practice into your morning routine, yin yoga is a great way to get that started for you. And of course, doing yin yoga first thing in the morning is so beneficial for the body because not only is the body cold, but it is also stiff. So you might be wondering, well, why would we want to be doing yin when our body is cold and stiff? And this is because you haven't had the opportunity to tenderize or supple up yet by going through the daily movements of your day. So when the body is cold, it allows for a little bit of a tighter pull on those ligaments, and that is going to help with your overall flexibility, mobility, and range of motion as you continue to practice. And of course, that doesn't mean that practicing yin yoga in the evening isn't just as beneficial. It just depends on what you are looking for in your practice. And before we begin, anytime I'm doing yin yoga, especially in the morning time, I like to have something to drink, something warm. It's comforting and it's sort of like my ritual. So today I'm drinking my matcha latte. I simply put some matcha powder in with some hot water, and then I added in my coconut milk, frothed it, put a little bit of honey for taste, and that's it. It's really just a nice comforting feeling when you are doing yin first thing in the morning. And maybe your ritual isn't tea. Maybe it's you have your journal beside you and you are journaling either before your practice or after your practice. Whatever it is that works for you, go ahead, grab your tea or your journal. If you're wearing your pajamas, join me, and we will begin with our intense toe squat. So finding your tabletop position, tucking your toes under, bringing the big toes to touch if they can, dragging your pinky toes forward, and placing all of your weight back onto your heels. Closing the eyes, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears and down the back. Nice deep breaths here. Nice deep breaths. You always have the option to drag the fingertips up and down the thighs. And just noticing if you're carrying any tension in the shins, if you're tensing the shins, allowing them to soften. So we're coming into our last few breaths here. like to go deeper for the last few breaths, simply interim your knees closer to the top of the mat so that you're just on your toes as opposed to the ball of the foot. Making these your deepest breaths. Let's take our last 2 breaths here. Nice big inhale, fill up. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. Gently opening the eyes if they were closed. Rock forward, plant the hands onto the mat, and tuck the toes. And just take a moment here. Just noticing all those sensations in the feet. And then very gently begin to wiggle the toes. Gonna rotate the ankles. Maybe tap the toes on top of the mat. Extending one leg back, stretching out through the calf. And the other. So we will counter stretch that now, pushing your toenails into the floor, stretching everything just below the knee, top of the shin, top of the foot. So with the toenails pressing into the mat, sitting your weight back onto your heels once again. And if this is enough, you can stay here just like this, or you can bring your fingertips nice and light beside you and gently lift your knees towards your chest. Just for 3 breaths. For 3. For 2. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale, release the knees towards the mat. Rock forward again. And untuck the toes. Can rotate the ankles. Maybe pat the toes on the mat. From here, making our way onto our seats. Extending your legs all the way out in front of you. So in this position, you want a slight part between your feet, so more of a V shape. This will just allow the stretch to go a little bit further into the belly of the hamstring. And then just move the fleshy parts of your seat aside. Once you have that desired position, inhaling here. And on the exhale, we're actually going to come down on a diagonal. So you're going to come down to the outside of your right leg. Nice deep breaths. If you have the block handy, you can always place your forearm on the block. That feels good. And by coming down on a diagonal, it just allows us to access that outer line of the hamstring. Coming into our last few breaths here before we come to the other side. Nice expansive breath into the back of the rib cage. Really allow the head to be heavy. Let's take our last two breaths here. Nice big inhale. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. So gently maneuver your way back to the center. And then very gently come all the way back up. Bring your hands behind you. And you can lean your weight back into your shoulder girdle. Just noticing how that feels on one side of the body compared to the side we have yet to do. So let's set ourselves up for the other side. So you might need to readjust. Inhale. And exhale. A very gentle twist to the outside of the left leg this time. And again, you can always place your left forearm on a block if you have it handy. And if at any time you find that the mind begins to wander, it's Always nice to count in for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Doing this until you get to 10 and starting over again. Coming into our last few breaths here. Doing anything to allow yourself to go just a little bit deeper. Last 2 breaths. Nice big inhale. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. Coming all the way back to center. Just take a minute here. And when you're ready, gently roll all the way back up. Bring your hands behind you again. And just lean your weight back into your shoulder girdle. So from here, we'll make our way onto our backs, and you will need your block handy. So bringing that down with you. And come to lay all the way down. So from here, we will be taking a reclined shoelace, and I know for some of us, drawing the knees in towards the chest, myself included, sometimes it feels like a lot of work. So a nice way to alleviate the work is to place a block underneath your bum, so it acts as a sort of a kickstand to help prop your hips towards you. So you don't want your whole bum on the block. It's almost as if it's hanging slightly off. It'll take a little bit of adjusting. So draw your knees in towards your chest. You're going to cross first the right knee over the left. And if you'll notice, my bum isn't completely on the block, but it is allowing my hips to draw forward. So you can grab on to opposite shins, opposite ankles, or you also have the option to grab onto the knee that's below, which would be the left knee, and draw in. So finding the variation that works best for you. Nice deep breaths here. And of course, you don't need to use the block. Making sure your shoulder blades are still on the mat and the back of the skull. Coming into our last few breaths here. Let's take our last 2 breaths here. Nice big inhale. And exhale, squeeze in. One more inhale. And exhale. Gently release the grip on the feet. You are going to bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. Remove the block. Coming into a twist. So pick up your hips, shimmy them to the right slightly, and set them back down onto the mat. Draw your knees back in towards your chest and drop them back over towards the left. And just readjusting here, so push your left elbow into the mat, pick up your chest and rotate your chest a little bit more towards the ceiling. You can cactus the right arm, looking over your right shoulder. Left hand, you can place it on top of the knee. We just got a really big snowstorm the other day. Pushing a lot of snow. This feels so wonderful on my back. So we're coming into our last few breaths here. Maybe you want to reach that right arm up above, increase that side body stretch. Last few breaths here. Let's take our last 2 breaths here. A nice big inhale, reach with those fingertips. And sigh it out. One more inhale. And exhale. So being very gentle, moving nice and slow, drawing the knees back towards the ceiling, uncrossing the ankles, and just hanging out here for a moment. Just taking in all the after effects of the pose. Noticing any light pulsations in the body. And we will go ahead from here and set ourselves up on the other side. So bringing the block back, if you used it on the other side, pick up your hips, place your bum just on the edge of the block there. Draw your knees in towards your chest, cross your left knee over the right, grabbing a hold of the opposite ankles, shins, or you can grab on and interlace your hand on top of the right knee. So finding what works for you. Closing the eyes. Notice if you're tensing your elbows and your shoulders. Really try to soften the shoulders down towards the mat. Coming into our last few breaths here, really making these your deepest breaths. Let's take our last 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale, squeeze in. Inhale and exhale, draw in. Gently release the grip. If you have the block there, move the block off to the side and bring the right toes to the mat. Push into your right foot, pick up your hips and shimmy them to the left just a little bit. Draw your knees in towards your chest and drop both knees all the way down to the right. And you can gaze over the left arm. Right hand can be placed on top of the left knee. And again, push into your right elbow, pick up your chest, and rotate it just a little bit more towards the ceiling. So coming into our last few breaths, maybe you want to reach those left fingertips up above. Let's take our last 2 breaths, really reach those left fingertips Inhale, reach. And exhale, side out. One more, inhale, reach, 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 reach. And exhale, side out. Bring the arm down, very gently drawing the knees back towards the ceiling. Uncross the knee. And just take a moment here. We're going to curl into a nice, tight, compact ball. Go ahead, draw your knees in towards your chest. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. You're going to wrap your arms around your knees, or you can grab onto your feet. We're going to squeeze here, so feeling your thighs compress up against your belly. For 3, for 2. Let's take a nice big inhale. And exhale, release. You can extend your legs out wide, the length of your mat. You can bring your arms out wide for your Shavasana, or if you'd much rather, you can find butterfly legs, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, and gently placing your hands on your thighs. So taking these few moments for yourself to set your intention for the day, and even just imagining how you'd like your day to unfold. Let's take 2 cleansing breaths here. Nice big inhale. Open the mouth and audible exhale. One more inhale. and sigh it out. So feeling free to stay here for as long as you'd like. I do hope you enjoyed this morning's practice, and I will see you back here again soon. Have a wonderful day.